bought a house in Toronto, the smallest house for sale in the city of Toronto in 2006. And it seemed to be perfect. It was beautifully decorated. It seemed to be in great shape. It was inspected. I had insurance, and things just fell apart almost immediately upon my moving in. Crawlspace is inspired by a true story. It's based on something that actually happened to me. It's a real estate story run amok. It's a comedy, it's a dark comedy, but it is a comedy. The only way I could really get through saying the words I have to say every night, going back and revisiting that experience, the only way I could get through it was to make it funny and to get the laughter going. And because as soon as the audience releases their tensions and anxieties through laughter, I get to as well. And the show really is directed toward young people in many ways, young people being the people who are most likely not to buy a house in this current market. I think almost everybody has a real estate story. Even if they're renters, they have a story about their landlord, or they have a story about rodents, or they have a story about a flood. Everybody's got something to compare it to. I think also what happened to me is what a lot of people fear. And so they get to see in 90 minutes their true life horror come to life on stage. And it's kind of an exorcism, I would say it's pretty cathartic for a lot of people who've had bad real estate stories. They get to compare their disaster with my disaster. It's a bit like a horror movie, like it really is. The whole thing, when I was experiencing it, I felt like I was in a horror film. And I would have to kind of pinch myself every now and then to make sure that it was real, and yeah, it was. I think it also releases people from the need to buy a house, those who can't buy or are thinking about buying and think they can't afford it. I've had a number of people come to the show and walk away saying, I'm not buying now, and I feel really good about that decision. There's a lot of pressure in this culture to buy, and when you do the math, often it really doesn't actually make sense. But we all want a home. The question is, what does home mean? And that's what the play really examines. Home does not necessarily mean property you own. It means a place that you feel safe. I owned that house. I did not feel safe in it.